Hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry, it's a little late by at least maybe a couple days. Actually, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, about 4 days. But obviously, I'm not the only one that's taking the time to react or give you my thoughts on the third or second full Superman trailer. You know, the new trailer that just came out, which I think is the second it's the second full one. I know that, so it's not a teaser or anything like that. It's the second full one. So, well, I saw Angry Joe's reaction. I've seen Pat, the NES punk, and his friend Ian, their reaction. And I know basically it's the trailer that came out this past week has got a lot of people with mixed reactions. A lot of people, they don't like the dialogue that's being shown there. Some people are pretty much saying that you're giving away too much of the movie already. But there's an old saying, and that is never judge a book by its cover. And just because these trailers may have given away more than what we wanted, or whatever, or these teasers may have just given us a little bit more than what we wanted, it doesn't mean it's giving away the whole movie. By virtue, this movie is going to be over 2 hours. We pretty much know this. It's going to be, I would average around the length of maybe Man of Steel, almost. That's what I'm looking at. And again, I understand some people don't like the fact that, so much was kind of revealed. Now, pretty much you're saying that the whole Batman versus Superman fight is going to take place a lot earlier than normal. Ian, Pat's friend Ian, said on their CU podcast when they were doing a video, their reaction to it, that he believes it's going to be sort of midway, sort of in the second half, almost towards the end of the second half, into the final part, the final segment. It basically, he has said that the fight between Batman and Superman is going to take place towards the end of 2/3 of the movie. So basically, you'll be 2/3 in, and that's where the fight's going to happen. And that he's predicting the last 20 or something minutes, just like a source apparently had told Joe Vargas, Angry Joe, and his friend, Other Joe, that the final 20-25 minutes is going to be nothing but fighting. I really don't know. I mean, obviously the source that both Joes talked to was on point about Doomsday being in the movie. Now that's another thing a lot of people are not happy about. Here you have Doomsday, suddenly one of the most powerful beings out there. In fact, someone that's responsible for this storyline being in the movie all of a sudden. Now, I can understand some people feeling that someone like Doomsday should be saved towards the end. You take a look at, what Fox is doing with X-Men, and we haven't even seen the X-Men Apocalypse trailer, but apparently the Apocalypse, even though it's not the last movie, I think there's one more after that, or it could be the last one, I don't really know. This is something that's been building for 16 years since the first X-Men movie. And despite changing of directors and all that, this is something fans have been wanting to see. They've been wanting to see Apocalypse in the movie because Apocalypse is the big baddie. He's basically the ultimate super mutant or whatever. He's the ultimate being that basically it doesn't matter how powerful you are. It doesn't matter how much you attack him, no matter what you do. he's almost impervious. He's almost unbeatable. And Bryan Singer's bringing him in, that character, into next year's X-Men Apocalypse. And a lot of fans, they may be a little mixed on the Apocalypse design, but at least they're acceptable of the fact that, hey, he's saving the biggest baddie for last. And that's true. He's saving essentially the big baddie of the X-Men universe for last. And some will say that they can't say the same for Superman, Batman vs. Superman, because now they're bringing in Doomsday right off the bat. And it's not just Doomsday. I mean, we have seen different incarnations of Doomsday and how he came to be. This incarnation of Doomsday is basically General Zod brought back to life, a la Frankenstein, if you will. And not a lot of people are happy about this. Not a lot of people are happy, and I can understand that, but I can also understand that you have to realize that even though Doomsday is most well known for killing Superman in the Death of Superman storyline, this character is not on the levels. Well, he is on the levels, but he's not, as bad or as powerful as some of the other beings that Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and the entire DC superhero universe has encountered. I mean, yeah, he's at the top as probably one of the most powerful beings. I'm not denying that, but he's not on the. But the thing is, he's not as threatening or dangerous or as powerful as, let's say, Darkseid. And that obviously is what they're saving for down the line. Just because Doomsday is coming in now, it does not mean Doomsday is not going to arrive later on. I mean, how many times in the comics and other incarnations of Superman has Doomsday been resurrected? How many times has he been rejuvenated? How many times have they brought this SOB of a monster back to life? Many. So it shouldn't be that much of a surprise that he's here. I mean, because if you've heard from numerous sources, you read it online, and you have someone that's on the set, or someone anonymous on the set, or working on the movie saying, yeah, he's going to be in it in the last 20-something minutes, maybe, and we still have to take this, and that we still have to take as a grain of salt, but the last 20 minutes or so, maybe shorter, maybe longer, we don't know, is going to be the three Justice League founders against Doomsday, then there you go. But it doesn't necessarily mean this is the last we see of Doomsday. To me, this is like, how do I put a comparison to this? This is kind of like the first evolution of Doomsday in this cinematic universe. This is not the Doomsday with the spiky bones and all that yet. This is like the first entry of Doomsday. This is like, it's like, okay, you've played Pokemon. Strange comparison, but you've played Pokemon. You've watched the anime. And in the anime, the Pokemon, when they're originally caught and befriended and used for battle, are in sort of like the first level, or level 1, or rookie level, whatever it is. They're in the first level, if you will. But as the anime, the manga, and even the games have shown, throughout time, throughout times in many fights and battles, the character will evolve and become stronger, and they'll take on a new form, they'll take on a new name. And you take a look at Doomsday, and a lot of people are already predicting that he's going to evolve anyway throughout that fight in the movie. And that might be true, but then again, this might be the first level of Doomsday. They might defeat him, but it doesn't mean it's the last we see of him. Because the next time we see of him, it could be in the next Superman film, and he could end up being exactly as we saw him in the comics. I'm just saying. You know, he could have the spikes and all that. So it's I don't think we have to judge just yet that this is the only time we're going to see Doomsday. I mean, pretty much what you're setting up with Doomsday is the fact that there are going to be beings, whether they're created by man, like let's say Lex Luthor, or they're from another world, like say Apocalypse. You're pretty much setting the stage for the fact that Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman, and the other Justice League members are going to make cameos towards the end or throughout the film. They're pretty much going to realize that they're going to have to go up against some very powerful bad guys, some very powerful villains that can pretty much kill them if they want to. And again, you know, I can understand you wanting, you know, everybody feeling that Doomsday should have been saved for maybe the third Man of Steel film, second or third Man of Steel film. I get that. Maybe he should have been saved for Justice League. I don't know. I can understand all that, but I also understand that whether we like this idea or not, this might not be the last time we see him. It may not. I mean, let's take a look at what's coming out next year along with this movie from DC and Warner Brothers. Suicide Squad. Okay? Who's to say Suicide Squad is going to be the last time we see the Joker, Jared Leto's Joker, or Harley Quinn, or whoever? Who's to say that's the last time we're going to see them? We're not. We're going to probably see them show up in other DC films, especially Batman-related films. You see, the point I'm trying to make is, even though, yes, I will agree that maybe they should have saved something like Doomsday for later on in the DC cinematic universe, that this may not be the last. What I'm trying to point out is this may not be the last time we see him. This may be the first stage of his evolution, if you will. Because, you know, let's face facts. The Rogues Gallery of the Trinity, of the JL Trinity, which is Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. The Rogues Gallery for all three of them is endless. I mean, Superman's got a variety of villains that he can go up against and have to match wits with, sometimes either on a power level or intelligence. Batman's got an endless line of rogues and villains that he can fight. Wonder Woman has her own, and we're going to find out more about that in the next year. Not next year, but within 2 years or a year and a half, we're going to find that out. So the thing is, you know, we shouldn't be that upset, because like I said, you know, how many times in comics and in other incarnations of media of the DC universe have the creators, or has the creators wrote a story where Doomsday has come back? I'm just saying. And besides, like I said, Doomsday is not going to be the only most powerful being they face. Yes, he should have been saved for maybe some kind of storyline later on in the DC Cinematic Universe to where he fights Superman and actually ends up killing Superman, and then you spend maybe another film or so trying to build up to his return, which I could probably understand people thinking it will be a future, you know, Justice League movie or something that builds up to maybe a third or fourth Man of Steel film. And that's probably true. That's probably true. But even with that possibility, I should say, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean that this is going to be the only time we see Doomsday in this movie. They might do a storyline where Luthor or Darkseid or whoever brings him back. Something happens that brings him back to life. So, you know, I'm just saying. And again, the Rogues Gallery for the JL Trinity is endless, you know. And like I said, this is not going to be the only powerful beings they face. I mean, when you look at it from a Superman perspective, and if not in an all crossover perspective, you got villains that are intelligent and powerful enough, like let's say Brainiac, intelligent enough. You haven't even seen him yet, and we're eventually going to see him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think we got hinted at about him in Man of Steel. We just haven't seen him yet. So he's still out there. He still could be messed around with in another Superman film, give Superman trouble, or maybe even another Justice League film. Who knows? You know, you got, and most importantly, you've got the setting of Apocalypse, and you've got Darkseid. Who's to say that the post credits, if there are post credits or mid credits, or both at the end of this film, who's to say one of them is not going to focus on a fiery planet in space, and all of a sudden you're going to see Darkseid maybe make his appearance because this is just a guess. They somehow get a hold of Doomsday's body. Who's to say Darkseid's not going to make an appearance at the end of that film, sort of the same way Thanos did at the end of the first Avengers film? Who's to say that won't happen? I'm just trying to point out to you the possibilities. And the fact that Darkseid, and they have talked about this many times, is the one being besides Doomsday that can match power and strength with Superman. The only difference between Darkseid and Doomsday is intelligence. And that is the fact that not only can Darkseid match power for power with Superman and all that, but he can also outsmart him. He can outwit him. He can use his intelligence. He can think logically. He can come up with different strategies and plans. You see, my point is, just because Doomsday's in this trailer, is in this movie, in Batman vs. Superman, it doesn't mean it's the last we're going to see of him. And we should look at it from a bigger picture. Doomsday is not the only powerful being out there. Yes, he's known for killing Superman off in the comics, but he's not the only powerful being out there. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got, like I said, you got Darkseid, you got his army on Apocalypse, his legion of minions on Apocalypse that can match wit and that can match power and strength with Superman and Wonder Woman, and even match wit with Batman. You got all those characters. You got all these characters. You know what I'm saying? They got all these characters to build upon. And again, like I said, I don't think this is going to be the last time we see Doomsday in this movie, in this DC cinematic universe. I really don't. And besides, you also got to take into account Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor, we have not seen him bald yet. We'll probably see that towards the end of the film. You know, we haven't seen him in his robotic mecha suit yet. We'll probably see that maybe in the film or in the Justice League films. So we haven't seen that yet. What I'm trying to say is yes. Now, what I'm trying to say is yes, I do agree that maybe they showed a little too much with this trailer, with this latest trailer. I will give you that. But just because they did that doesn't mean we have to judge a book by its judge the movie by just that. Okay? What we have to look at is, yes, they're giving us a taste of what to expect, but this is not the final product. And besides, people criticize on what Doomsday looks like. They still got to finalize the rendering on the CGI. Yeah, and I did say CGI. They still got to finalize on the rendering of the design. So it's not the final design. It's just there to give you an idea of what you're going to see in the movie.